Right. We'll call to order the meeting of the Wolcott Forest Stewardship Committee. And this agenda says our next meeting is April 9th. Okay, we are on May 14th. May 14th, Forest Stewardship Committee. That's makes so hard. Roger sent out an agenda. I think we've got some potentially some amendments, although I talked to Luke Hart last night. He was thinking he would be here tonight to give us an update on the work that he's been doing and trying to get organized. He told me a few things, and I could probably extrapolate on that a little bit. So I guess that fits under 4C, Forest Management Update. So it's not really an amendment. That's what I know about. Anybody else have things they want to call out?
There have been, in the last couple of days, there were several requests for us to revisit our trail map. So I figured to bring that to the conversation, see if we're still waiting on anyone to deliver anything, or if we should just take a different track.
Yeah, okay. Trail map. Maintenance update, maybe. So we can definitely plug that in. Anything else? I think I saw Luke's truck just pull in too, so that's good.
I may have an opportunity for some volunteers if there's still maintenance and trail cleanup or stuff that needs to be done.
Throughout. Okay. Meaning work for volunteers to do, or volunteers to
do work.
Okay, fantastic. So
Trevor, last meeting, you mentioned that you had sent some photos to show some of the areas that you wanted to do some work.
Yes.
Do you mind sending me copies? I'll put them in the folder for that week. So that
yeah, I can.
Okay.
All right. So a couple of things coming up. I've probably been taking notes on stuff what we need to add, but they mostly they fit in under the stuff we'll go through. So I think we're good. All right. Then we have 2 meetings worth of minutes that are outstanding for approval. I just took a quick review myself, and they look pretty comprehensive. Anybody have comments about the minutes from the prior meetings? Seeing no comments, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes. Y'all fine to approve them in one motion, or want to vote separately?
I can't vote on one because I wasn't.
Okay, so got to do it separately. Motion to approve the minutes from the March 12th meeting. Second. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And the motion to approve the minutes from the April 9th meeting. I make the motion to approve. Okay. I think actually in small meetings, we don't actually need a second, so that's my recollection. So in that case, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And abstaining? Okay.
So does that pass?
So yeah, I mean, you know what? It wasn't even really a meeting because we didn't have a quorum, so we couldn't take actions. I think.
I feel like it passed.
Yeah. The notes are accurate.
Who did the notes?
Roger did from the recording.
Oh, from recording.
Yeah. I usually go back and get floating and double check my notes.
Okay. I have one update that outstanding, actually. I took the action to talk to the select board about getting Trevor installed on the as a member. I volunteered to do the thing. I have not done the thing. So I'm sorry, we can't officially install you tonight. My bad. Really appreciate you coming and
Just have to wait a little longer.
yeah, I'm gonna send an email before you go to sleep tonight to make that happen. So, right, we have a public comment is the obligatory item, but I think unless somebody has something they want to call out as public comment, I think we'll get to other stuff under the regular ongoing topics.
Nobody online, there's nobody requesting. Check my email, make sure this. See any requests for interest, I think we're good.
So trail building update. I guess this is the well, there's trail building and trail maintenance. So building, you probably all saw my email. There's red ribbons on the proposed new trail. I assume everybody's fine with what's there because they haven't heard otherwise. And
We're waiting for it to dry out a little bit more, I'll be honest. But I do intend to go up. I'm just putting that sky there.
okay, and you know, I mean, obviously, it's not precise. I put ribbons on trees. We're not going to walk through the trees.
I remember being happy, like, you know, with what you had shown before, so yeah, I imagine there's not much else.
It corresponds to what's shown on the map. So, I think we're basically you have the formalities of approval from Northern Rivers, but we've all seen it. We see where it goes. It's going to be rough. It's going to take some work to make a nice walking trail. There's a lot of just it's essentially leaf duff on top of a rock fall in a lot of the space that the trail traverses. So some people with crowbars and picks just kind of arranging it to make it clear where to walk and a little smoother to walk. I think that's the work. And so that'd be a fantastic thing for volunteers. Depending on the what would you say, what the volunteers want to sign up for. It's a little bit more than pulling weeds, clearing brush.
Is there imagery of where the trail is laid out? Just a rough sketch or something?
I think.
Maybe the March meeting you have now.
No, that's not it. There is, and it'll take me a minute to dig it up. Unless somebody's got it close at hand.
Was it the trail that you kind of described in a narrative description as a cutoff last fall?
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So I guess what remains is organizing work groups to get started with it. And I don't know that there's any rush to do that. I think it does make sense to let other folks who want to go take a look start doing it. But I think what I'd like to say for this meeting is if we're all in agreement with it, then well, my thought is that me or anybody who feels inclined to get started on it could, choose the day they want to do it, post a front porch forum, do whatever to solicit volunteers and get started, and we can just kind of start the work and let it self-organize, so to speak. If there's volunteer, I'm aware of a couple of people who are interested in volunteering, and if they're trustworthy trail builders, we we may not have to have, organized work days and only do the work on organized work days. So that's me thinking out loud. I don't always have the, my ideas sometimes get better with reflection from other people. So I'll stop there and see if anybody has other ideas.
Well, I just fill you in on what I possibly could arrange, and you could guide us to how we best to service. People's Academy does a community volunteer day every year. It's May 27th this year.
Okay.
I have suggested this to them, put it out there as an opportunity once I check with you, but I could arrange to get maybe 10 or so high school students for the morning of the 27th to come in and do anything anybody pointed us to do.
Okay.
We're always looking for more opportunities to get to spread the kids around too. And I probably could get a fair number of Wolcott students to get involved with the town community.
Okay.
Like I said, just point us to whether it's clearing branches and trees and fall downs, or if there's something on the new trail. If they just want to meet with me and show us how it would be of help, I've got that opportunity.
Sounds great.
You teacher at the high school? Was that, you work at the high school?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good relationship with a bunch of students. Nice.
What day of the week is that?
Good question. I'd like to maybe do it on a Friday, but I don't think the 27th is on Wednesday. So I guess we're doing it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to be there on Wednesday morning. But we could meet on the weekend beforehand, or an evening, and kind of line out the work.
Yeah.
Seems like a good way to go. I suspect it will take more than one morning's worth of work to make progress. It won't get done in one morning's worth of work.
Well, I got my question right now would be, there other maintenance and cleaning of the trails, winter cleaning of the trails that exist that need happening? That we talked about that, I think at the last meeting. So that's an offer. We could do that. But if you wanted to guide us to whatever work can be done on the new trail, use this anyway.
Okay. I honestly haven't been out on trails in a couple of weeks. Last time I was out, there was had been some, self-organizing volunteers, had done a good deal of cleanup. And things seemed in pretty good shape. They were just getting to a point, they're just getting solid enough for the constructed trails, to ride a bike on. And probably wouldn't hurt. I actually have mixed feelings and would want to talk to Brooke and Mariah about the desirability of actually really keeping them clear of leaf litter, which would mean getting out there with a leaf blower probably twice a year. And honestly, as I look at the way the trails are constructed, and it seems like they'd be less susceptible to runoff from heavy rains and stuff if we leave the litter. And I think that, traffic on the trails is likely to be enough to keep it clear. As I look at the bike trails that I ride on in other places, that some places, the Craftsbury Outdoor Center leaf blows their trails, but they keep to a different standard than a lot of the other places that I ride. And I don't think we need to be, they also charge money for, and have a budget to do all this stuff. And my personal opinion is we don't need to try and achieve that standard. I think that, Katie's Falls trails are fantastic. And if we achieve that standard, we're doing great. So,
I'm fine with it, and No one likes to hit a patch of leaves on their bike, but I'm not really too worried. I think there's gonna be enough traffic. But it'll get the track down quickly.
It would cut down on erosion too.
Yeah,
Gonna get packed down throughout the year.
yeah, so they'll, things will move some and back down. The ground's a little bit packed, this has had traffic already. So we'll, on the trails that aren't heavily constructed, I think there's still more burn-in that happens as they see use. So I think it will be fine.
Okay, so we have last year's fall, right?
Yeah.
Glitter on the ground now. Yeah. So just gonna get worked in, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, give it a year to see how it goes. That's fine, and that's fine, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. If it gets really deep in a few spots, then maybe we address those or something, but
Yeah, just like if there's a, tree falls across the trail or something like that, there will always be branches and sticks that blow down and my experience, again, reflecting primarily on Katie's Falls, but I honestly, I haven't seen anybody out there doing maintenance on the Bartlett trails. Particularly, and they're always visible and rideable the times that I go up there. I'm not aware that they go out and leaf blow there. I really don't think they do.
it'd be a lot of work for 5 miles. A week, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Seems like the natural leaf litter is gonna help. It's set up better over time, like mulch and hurt the whole. Grass, graminoid seeds down so they germinate, or if it's mineral soil, we're gonna get moss that develops and. And that'll help stabilize it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would prefer not to be in the business of fixing up the berms. But if the berms are just left as bare for getting exposure, we'll have to see what happens. It's possible that they get a lot of bike traffic and you get braking bumps sometimes on places, but
I'd like to think that their work would last at least through one winter.
yes.
2K, 200K. I think so.
I mean, based on what I saw earlier this year, I think the less heavily constructed that the less the trail was heavily constructed, the more it was hand built rather than machine built, the better it seemed to hold up.
I can see that. Yeah. Back at 10 times with a shovel or a pounder bar is better than one time with a hump. One
Yeah.
smack.
Well, we'll plan on it. Since the weather, like the rain seems like it's gonna break and I've got time on Monday. I'll volunteer and start walking around and see and just visually. If there's anything that stands out, so just to be able to. I think I'll just walk it first and then put a list together, and if I feel ambitious and it's easy, I'll just double back. An engineering project, I'll just pass along.
Right. Well, I didn't see any engineering projects when I was out there, a couple of weeks ago. I haven't had a bike out on it in a little while, but the weather's supposed to be nice this weekend.
Just looking for an excuse to get out. It's supposed to be super nice Monday. I want to give it a day or two to try out.
Okay, so that seems like we talked about trail building update and it just slid right into maintenance update, talking about trail conditions, volunteers for spring cleanup. We'll connect and get something in place so that there's work for kids to do on the 27th. Let's make sure that we both have each other's email address before we leave the building tonight.
And when we were doing the initial break-in
before we started building last year on some trails, it was just moving sticks out of the way or logs, kind of pitching them sort of out of the way, out of sight, kind of. That's pretty, that could be a nice first step
On the new trail.
on the new trail.
Okay, just
Moving sticks. Don't start. Yeah. Logs.
initial clean through.
Yeah, look, yeah. Yeah, well,
Good plan.
couple of weeks. Couple of weeks to be able to figure it out, so.
Okay.
Can do that. Cool, so next item is forest management update, that we might have a few things to talk about there. So, let's see, to level set on what I understand where we're at, so Luke, you've been working on two different potential funding sources.
Yeah.
Grant funding sources. These are focused on cleaning up portions of the Bourne parcel, remediating the remains of the last logging operation on the Bourne parcel. And I've seen a fair amount of email activity just kind of getting administrative stuff taken care of. It seems pretty significant amount of work. And it seems like we're getting close, or maybe we're getting close, but that gets us up to what I remember.
Good.
So, so where are we and where do we go?
Yeah, so this is the Clean Water Service Provider funding through the Loyal Conservation District. We're dealing with several different point people. And they are taking information from us and submitting it for a federal grant that's used to reduce phosphorus. And there's a formula to calculate how much phosphorus gain is you get by reclamating forest road. And since it's pretty easy to execute as far as planning and permitting, it's the amount of phosphorus reduction you get per dollar spent is quite high. So it's desirable to the funder. So where we are right now is the application has been submitted. Seems like we're going to get it. We're looking at around $30,000 to reclaim around 1 mile of trail. That mile of trail traverses above the river, and then it also goes along this I guess it would be eastern slope, and then hooks around into the saddle of the parcel. And in the saddle of the parcel, there's 3 or 4 stream crossings near vernal pools with bullywood. And part of the reclamation funding is to pull that bullywood out of those stream crossings, just take it outside the wetland buffer, reform those stream beds so the water's flowing, and then slowly track out, get rid of the ruts and shape the roads or traveled ways so they're nicely crowned or outsloped. We have one section which is downgraded significantly, 3 to 4 feet, just a dugway going straight down. We're going to close that out, create some sediment pools and discharge spots. And that's pretty much it. We do have one culvert. We're actually just going to pull that for now, pull it and reshape the stream bed. There's some rather cumbersome permitting involved in reclamating it to either a ford or another culvert. So we've kind of made the executive decision. We're just going to pull it right now. We don't have time to do large scale wetlands delineations or money. But that doesn't mean we can't use it, or we couldn't brush it in for a silvicultural operation, or put some planks across it for a trail. It just means there's not going to be a culvert.
Whereabouts exactly is that culvert?
It's on the slope. It's above the Lamoille River that's traversing the river. It plugs all the time and then blows out the side, and then it's aggregating flow to a point where it shouldn't be, and then we're getting scouring below it. You know, there's a 30-foot bank that's all eroded down from that aggregated flow. So that's going to be eliminated, and we're going to redisperse that water. So what we're looking at is a $30,000 grant. We are going to be charged with selecting a contractor. I would hope that that contractor is from this town. It would be nice to get 3. It seems to me that the best thing to do would be to ask the select board to give us 3 recommendations. I've done that in the past with towns, and it seems to work well. If we put it out to like public bid, that's a lot of work in vetting contractors and doing showings, and it can just take a lot of time. And then we, you know, in this way, the town select board members, they can know the parameters of our contractors. We need somebody that's familiar with working with woods run dirt, that has a dry machine between 16 and 24,000 pounds. Steel tracks with the pump. We don't need a finished bucket. Digging is fine. And we want a bid. Okay, so that maybe I shouldn't have said that number. I did, but I had to submit something. And there's, you know, likenesses that's done off of. And, you know, if we're under, then we give the money back and it goes back into the pool and it can be used for other conservation projects. You know, we want our contractor to make, obviously, we want our reclamation objectives met, but we don't want to take advantage of the funding source because it's, you know, a statewide allocation. There's some left over. Let's give it to another project that needs it. So once we select a contractor, we're going to have to, you know, do a site visit, and possibly, you know, we could do a site showing with 3 contractors show them and say, give us a number. And then as a committee, the town for conservation,
Forest
committee, you know, you decide amongst yourselves who you're going to choose as a group. And then we have a contract with them.
Contract is with between the funding source and the equipment operator.
Actually, it's kind of funny. Yeah, so it would be between the town and the contractor.
Okay.
And then the conservation district, they hold the purse. So they would be paying the contractor once it's complete.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a pre-construction meeting we have to do. And then the reclamation needs to be laid out in the field by a forester. That's either myself, Emily Potter, or Silas Rainville. Once it meets those conditions, then, you know, we're good and the funding gets released. And there is let's see here, which this is kind of nice, and I didn't realize this. I view this as a positive. There's a access and operation and maintenance agreement that we're going to have to sign with the conservation district. And what that does is it says that we give the conservation district permission to access the town forest on a yearly basis to inspect the reclamation work. And if something's blown out, then they have the right to come and fix it. So they'll deal with maintenance, which is wonderful. And I'm not sure, like, if something blows out in a storm event, if that means they're going to come back to us and say, okay, you got to select a contractor again. I'm really not sure how that is going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of like you cross that bridge when you get there. And right now we're just giving them permission to inspect it on a yearly basis. So
One thing I should probably mention then is that doing the work out there, any work that gets done, there needs to be reviewed by, you know, the easement holders for our property. This need to be kept in the at the time. So the conservation district probably would be totally familiar with that, but, you know, it's something we should make clear,
I don't anticipate any problem there.
you know. Because, you know, I'm thinking just making sure the communication cycle is closed.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things we've done is we've developed a budget, and that budget is based on variable costs relative to what we're asking for each section. So some areas it's severe erosion. It's downgraded 3 to 4 feet. So that's a pretty high cost per lineal foot. Other areas it's just basic grading and shaping. It's a pretty low rate, something like $4 a lineal foot. So it's ranging in between like $4 to $10 is what we're budgeting for. Just so, and there's some areas that are gonna, you know, it's gonna take some time where you got to go in, you know, pull out that bully wood, track it out, you know, 50 feet beyond the wetland boundary, and then kind of daylight it out, you know, into slope height it, and then go back and reshape those stream banks. Of course, or not of course, but this work is relative to our AMPs, acceptable management practices for maintaining water quality. So we do have mulching parameters, seeding parameters that we need to follow when we're next to water courses, things like that. Integer spacing of water bars, you know, what type of water bars, or so that's, you know, all that stuff is spelled out quite clearly in the AMP manuals. But yeah, so a gal by the name of Sarah Skelding has been the main point person that I've been dealing with for 4 different people, but, you know, mainly her. And she's submitting the application to Dean Pierce. He's this fellow who's in charge of this funding pool for the state of Vermont. And she thinks, you know, it's really optimistic. One of our concerns is that when we do get the funding, it's going to be too late and we're not going to be able to get any contractors. And that's something that, you know, we all should keep in our heads, you know, who's a good fit for this.
Do you have people that you could recommend?
I do, but I'm very concerned about, like, you know, conflicts of interest, things like that. I want to be removed from that. I don't think I want to use somebody that I have a, you know, relationship with. Yeah.
And you're saying three should be consulted and choose one, or you would be choosing 3 to do?
Yeah, so we take a recommendation of 3 contractors that we provide a prospectus to. So basically an outline of what we're doing. Okay, and then we ask them for a bid on the project. So what would you charge for this? And so you folks are going to get a number, and they're going to tell you, okay, this is my experience. This is what I charge. This is my equipment. Sometimes, you know, somebody's got, you know, a couple pieces of specialized equipment, but not too much experience. Then you've got somebody else with just one old clanky banky, but, you know, 40 years of experience. So there's some, you know, or they can say, oh yeah, you know, here's a portfolio. I've done a whole bunch of these projects. This is not a new hat for me. So that's what you guys can do. Or you folks, you know, as a collective committee. Yeah.
And then it's kind of following, and then when we pick one, then put the select board, then is the final thumbs up, is it kind of how we work, right?
Basically, select board has to be on board with this, so I'm just trying to think this through and wrap my head around the meetings and the work that we have to do as a group, right? The things that are going to have to happen. We've got to talk to the select board and well, first of all, we've got to see that we get approved for the grant.
Yep.
Then probably bring the select board up to speed on the nature of the project and what we're trying to do. It's probably, you know, 15-20 minute conversation just so that they're completely read in on all of what's happening and get their input on what the bidding process, I guess, would be, so Luke, you're making a recommendation that, an efficient way to do this would be to have the select board, pick the three people to solicit bids from. Select board may have other ideas, about how it should be done.
If they want it publicly warned, I'm happy to facilitate that.
Okay.
It's just a lot of work for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So then it's reviewing bids soliciting bids. In order for somebody to make a bid, they've got to have a site visit.
Yep.
Right, so got to coordinate a site visit for the people who want it. And then review the bids, and then it goes to, Forester does the layout work, two things, negotiate a contract with the contractor. Forester does the layout work, and monitors the progress at that point where, the project is on autopilot from our perspective.
Yep, so contractor, layout, pre-construction meeting with the Soil Conservation District. Green light, project is done, contractor gets the money. Likenesses, this is a week and a half, 2 weeks of work.
Mhm.
Super weather, you could do it in a week.
Gotcha.
There's one name I'd like to throw out to you. Look, Adam Allen lives in town.
Yeah.
He's a logger in the winter,
know Adam.
excavating contract in the summer.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good reports on it.
Yep. Yeah, he'd be a good candidate. Yep.
In terms of the bidding process,
Sure.
there we need to work out a matrix to review the bids in the fair, or are we just gonna defer to the town system, do you think?
Well, the buck's gotta stop somewhere.
Yeah.
So you can either solicit it to the public, warn it, put it in the paper, post it up in 2 public places. Along with the prospectus. So a perspective is an overview of the project, what's expected, and then a map. So that, that would be soliciting the bid, or you can take 3 recommendations from the select board.
Okay,
Yep.
Doing prospectus sounds like, I'm gonna guess 3-4 hours of your time to put a prospectus together.
Mhm.
And then posting it, and then the review process depends on whether we get 2 or 20 contractors, right?
Yeah.
So it could be 30 minutes, or it could be 3 hours or more.
Yeah.
To do that. And you're doing this all the volunteer work, am I?
Yep.
That's amazing, and
Yeah.
duly noted. So obviously not doing a public prospectus is, we might want to think about well, it would be up to the select board, but I guess the question is, if we're going to take on that much more work, it's a lot to ask of a volunteer. Seems to me. But that's,
The public warning, that would mean that we'd be taking in bids from outside the town. The town forest took land off the grand list, so it's like, this is kind of giving that money back to the community. It just feels right, to give the work to the people in the town. Yeah.
So seems to me the next step is probably you and I have to go to the select board together. And get them all bought in on this. They did officially approve the idea of us applying for grants, so it won't be the first they're hearing about it. I might have to go back and look up the meeting minutes to figure out when that exactly was, but that did happen.
So before officially applying for the grant, you would go to the select board or?
Already,
We already have.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go.
The grant, we're this close to getting the grant.
Okay.
Yeah, the grant's in the grinder,
Right,
heavily weighted, so it's definitely,
all right.
So no action necessarily required from us at this point. But we're gonna have to get involved in at least working with the select board on contractor negotiations and staying abreast of what happens with it all.
What would be the end? November hits too late.
August. They want it done in August.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's what I mean. I'd like to have a contractor now, but technically, we can't officially solicit any workers until those funds are obligated. If we do, they cancel it. Yeah, so it's a fine line to walk.
Anything else on this one? We should move back to probably maintenance, discuss signage. And Roger, I don't know, maybe you've been picking up some messages that I haven't been. I got one message of somebody commenting about, it's a trail sign at the trailhead, looking for something a little better.
Yeah, they were just verbal.
Uh,
Michelle brought up that
She's probably been hearing
people
about
have
it.
been asking about maps.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let me just, I know we're working on that. She's like, no, like really was like getting on me about it. So,
Uh-huh.
and then when I was at the school board meeting, the informational meeting, 3 people independently at different times of the meeting, like when people were starting to come into the room.
Uh-huh.
Drop me a shape file. That's all I need is a shape file and I'll post it on our management map. That's all I need, a shape
Yeah,
file.
you know what, actually, I think Kate Warner's made a couple of drafts too. What she's done is got the forest rules, which would be worth review. But that also raises another point, which is somebody who lives close to the trails did send me an email and said, be nice to post the rules, especially about dogs on leash, because there have been a lot of dogs off leash. And that's, and I kind of have mixed feelings about it, but it is the rule that we talked about, so.
I've seen dogs chasing deer and horse.
Yeah, okay. And it's a wintering area. So posting maps and posting rules, the requests have been coming in.
Is that map in the file? That's probably last fall, right?
Yeah, and if it came to me in email, I probably could drop it into the folder. So let's go see if we can probably bring it up on the screen too. Be responsive.
It's a Starlink system. I'm not impressed so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it was working better when I used my personal hotspot for my phone.
Here's, I don't know. Leash dogs on leash required on rail trail. Is that an official? I wonder position at all? Rule, law. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no.
I think it is. I don't know where that's officially posted.
Right, how is that? Just curious how that's, posted and or whatever.
But technically, yes, dogs must be on leash at all times or on the LVRT. The requirements for the trail's official rules to ensure safety of all multi-use travelers, including hikers, bikers, equestrians, etc. So the rules say yes. I don't know if I've seen it posted, but actually read the sign. I kind of just walked right past it.
Yeah, right, I know.
Okay,
So is the rule, dogs on leash on the town forest or dogs on leash on the trails?
That's a good question.
I think the rule of the stewardship plan said dogs on leash.
yeah, I think that's right. And then, so I found Kate's map, and it's in our, forest committee folder online, so we can probably get it up there very easily. The, rules that she put in here include, it says, welcome community forest, welcome, opens onto dusk. Bikes and snowmobiles must stay on designated trails. Please stay off muddy trails. Dogs must be leashed. Please collect and dispose of dog waste. No horses, camping, campfires, motorbikes, ATVs, or e-bikes. No hunting in safety zone. Please respect our neighbors. Do not trespass off property. Do not damage, harass, or alter vegetation, watercourses, or wildlife. Leave no trace. Pack it in, pack it out. So
Is the e-bike rule valid?
yeah, that's a worthwhile question.
Didn't we? Ask for one type of e-bike. What is it called? The,
Assist maybe?
Yeah.
Pedal assist. Pedal assist is the thing. So that's worthy of discussion. Actually, I don't remember if we had anything about it in the stewardship plan. And
We did allow, we're going to allow e-bikes.
well, originally they were not allowed. We had at one meeting we discussed it and said we were going to allow.
Yeah, for,
yeah,
Certain, yeah,
they're evolving so fast, it's hard to stay on top, but.
right.
Yeah,
It seems like there's an older age group that's starting to maybe use them.
Of course.
What do you mean by older?
Right. That's a good, yeah. Older or. Yeah. Or you could be younger and it's like that e-bike power.
I'm trying to get out of it. That's.
some of folks who were, well, our trail builders spent a lot of time with their e-mountain bikes navigating around the trails because it's if you're out there working all day, it's helpful to have a little pedal assist. So I've got the community forest plan. Okay, so I've got it open. And that's the right one. It's 222 pages. So let's see, tools, finding document about search for bike. That gets me 9 hits. So here on page 33, says bike, it doesn't say anything. Wait a second. Look at this. On page 34, actually, 33 and 34, it says listed below are some examples of recreational educational activities that in the future may be either supported with limitations, or prescribed by the town of Wolcott as circumstances warrant. This list is illustrative only. It does not limit the consideration of any other activity not mentioned. And on that list, it says it includes electric bikes, and about probably 15 bullet points altogether. So it just says that we're aware of thinking about them and we may allow them or may not allow them. So that's that point. Let's see what else. Okay, here on page 35, it says bicycles, including mountain bikes and e-bikes. Bicycles are allowed in the town forest and designated trails only. Electric bikes are not permitted at this time. The Select Board or Forest Stewardship Committee may allow exceptions in cases where they are serving as assistive technology for a person with a physical disability. And a little further down, it says, all terrain vehicles or other motorized recreation. Okay, I'll read the whole thing. ATVs, dirt bikes, and other motorized recreational vehicles require special consideration with respect to compatibility with other uses due to noise and exhaust, erosion control, and trail maintenance and parking accommodations. In accordance with the terms of the conservation easement, motorized vehicles are not permitted for recreational usage except as noted above. Snowmobiles and e-bikes at the discretion of the Select Board or Stewardship Committee. That is. That's all the references. I did a search for the word bike, and that's what it says. So got rid of everything.
So on that map, where the prohibited uses are, we leave that or take it away, the e-bike prohibition.
Yeah. What I'm reading here, let's just throw this out, and again, I'm one person, and I'm not going to be definitive, but I think we said that they were prohibited at that time, but we're holding open the possibility that the Select Board or the Forest Stewardship Committee could change the rules with respect to e-bikes. The e-bikes could be allowed either for assistive technology or in general.
What is the thing behind the prohibiting of them? Is it erosion reasons, safety reasons? I mean, I get the dirt bikes and stuff you said, for noise control. What's the logic behind the e-bikes?
I think part of it, I'm going to speculate, and others feel free to jump in. One is that 3 or 4 years ago, as we were discussing this stuff, e-bikes were kind of new. Within the biking community, there's some resistance to e-bikes, or e-mountain bikes anyway. So there's that. The nature of e-bikes is that there's many different classes of them, and some of them are basically indistinguishable. And then you can get, I don't know, I forget what they're called, sucks. There's, essentially dirt bikes that are electric powered that, somebody will tell you, oh, it's an e-bike. But it might as well be a dirt bike. So, that puts us in the business of having to make careful distinctions in terms of our rules. And I think at the time when we wrote this, we didn't want to get in the business of making those careful distinctions at that point.
And as we don't really have, other than volunteers offering, some kind of complaint or some kind of notification to us, an email or otherwise, there's really no organization that's tasked with enforcing the rule of the town forest at this point. We don't have a ranger or anything like that to enforce the rules that exist. So I think we put the prohibition in place just as if there's a problem, at least we can put our back against there being a prohibition. But if there's no complaint, there's no real problem to a large degree. So it's for that reason, it's none of us really signed up to be the e-bike police, where we're checking the parameters of each person's bike as they go into another forest. I think it really is if there is any kind of identifiable nuisance to the point where someone feels like they had to report it or there's complaints of any kind, that we have something we can put our back against. And that was the viewpoint that I had when we were discussing it.
Yeah, in the conservation world, like forest management and such on big parcels, it's become an issue because It enables people to get far in the woods fast and quietly. So, we used to have an aggregated impact, say within a quarter mile of trailheads during hunting season, it's 2 miles back on big parcels now from e-bikes. And they go right through the woods, but get quiet. So it's, maybe it's not a problem, but it's definitely changed the landscape. And then the higher powered ones, they have torque. So, when you're pedaling a bike, at least when I do, I'm not wasting energy by torquing around all the corners but the e-bikes do. They're really torquey. So you get burnouts everywhere, and, around the jumps, they'll burn out. So those, up in Maine on the forest, big forest tracks, Irving and such, they're not allowed because they're dangerous. They don't yield to trucks, and they spray rocks and dirt everywhere.
You're talking about like, what it was,
Well, they're e-bikey, dirt bikey things, I'm not an expert on them.
Okay.
But I mean, the ones people use for hunting, they're more bikey, but they don't pedal them. You hear the leaves crack and sticks crack, and then you see the bike. It's like, wow, there's somebody, with a rifle on their back going through,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's just it's a changing landscape. We got to have all the facts before we can adapt, but I'm not sure we have all the facts right now.
Yeah. So the thing is, I mean, I have an e-bike. An electric mountain bike. I ride it as pedal assist. I take the battery out sometimes because and ride it because as a mountain bike, it's a more capable mountain bike than it's a different mountain bike than the other bikes I have. For me, coming down, I can come in and make a quick tour of the trails and check out in terms of keeping an eye on things, maintenance and stuff like that. I don't like the idea that I'm breaking the rules in doing it. But the bike that I've got is not going to be the one that the hunters riding. And so I think we're at the point, for the same decision we were at before. Either we start to get into making the distinctions between the kinds of e-bikes, or we make a blanket rule. I know there's other, I'm not the oldest mountain biker in town. I know a couple of other guys who have e-bikes, who would be coming to ride the trails.
Yeah. So why exclude them?
Yeah,
That's the thing,
yeah,
if a 75-year-old, wants to taxpayer, that's right. Yeah. Who's, on one lawn. I mean, let's not discriminate. So yeah, it's a tough call.
Seems like, the dirt bike types, I think they don't even have pedals, some of those, I mean.
yeah, they're certainly out there.
Yeah. Those are, pretty much exactly like dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Seems like pedal assist is more like a bike and, I don't have much experience. I've never really ridden trails with mine. It's just for dirt roads and woods roads mostly, so. But yeah, definitely get you up quicker.
Yeah. It's a great tool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's,
Super.
I feel like the wait and see, we did kind of get into the wait and see about it, like if it becomes a problem, then we address it.
Mhm.
And I think that seems to be a good, I guess that's the direction I would want to go in at this point. If hordes of mountain or e-bikers start coming and running people off the trails, maybe it's, then we gotta really crack down, but the science, I guess, says our only, but or if we start hearing complaints, from other people, other users. Yeah, and I think there is probably a stigma against it from a regular mountain bike user or group that's that's kind of why I was saying like the older crowd. Like if you're young, you know, you probably gonna feel like it'd be not so cool if you're on an e-bike, I guess. Yeah. You know. Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's true. And every group's different. There's.
So, I mean, what I'd like to see is I'd like to officially allow, pedal assist e-bikes. And to remove the e-bike prohibition from this map that Kate has put together. And then, we can, and then we can make a large scale copy of this map and post it.
So not encourage it, but not have language discouraging.
Yeah. I mean, not making e-bikers, let's say, don't make a criminal out of a person who's riding a pedal assist bike.
Yeah.
And then if we find ourselves in a spot where, a bunch of kids in town, have, e-bike dirt bikes, essentially. That we open ourselves up to the risk of having to come back and shut it down after something's happened. But I don't think that's a huge risk.
My uncle has ALS and my aunt got him an e-bike this past summer. And he posted this thing on Facebook, him on his bike on Beth, took a picture and he said, I still have my freedom, and that's kind of like, there's a perfect example, Yeah.
Would you like me to write up or at least mark the notation that we want to make to the future plan? Well, and make it official, or are we just thinking of mark it off the map? Because if we're gonna make it official, we should go through the motion and, because it's not gonna change, as far as like people's behavior, it's not gonna change much in the next 30 or 3 days or so. But if we're proposing to change or to allow for e-bikes, you might as well make sure all the paperwork lines up to it. And, in one push.
Yeah.
Right, that won't take much time, but, and then. Going back to circling back to the map, I don't think that I think the trail map that Kate put together would be more useful if like half of the park area was not on the map, because there's probably about 40% of what we actually need to see that should occupy the real estate on the map right now.
Yep.
And it's pretty much the whole park. It's like I can see an argument for the whole park outline being on, say, like the backside of a fold-out map, or like a little window within the trail map. But I think the trail map should just stay focused on the trail area.
I'm telling you, give me the shape files, I'll make you a gorgeous map. Make hundreds of them every year. Yep.
I think I've been wondering about this myself. To what extent are you prepared, for this side of the property to be in the public awareness? I've seen people already on the Smith property.
I've seen a lot of people there. Yeah, I see people there all the time.
Are we prepared for that? Especially when you start thinking about, keeping good neighbors.
Is the Smith property officially?
Is it officially? People assume it is.
Until next year. It's not really under our umbrella of control right now.
So you have some time to think about that, because when it does, that's your only road access. You're going right along Trevor Corp's property. His dogs gave me a chase.
Yeah, I mean, we have discussed it before, but it's early in the process.
So to the extent where this map is showing, you can put all that property on this map, you don't have much legal access to any of that yet.
Yeah, which is why I don't think we should just not have.
That's what
I think we should focus on the areas we want to drive people into, show them where the parking is, I also think that we should put, if we're gonna mark the school parking lot. It does say parking only when school is not in session. I think we can add a little bit more.
Yeah, there,
Yeah, or
from general public, no. It's just like people showing up during the school day and parking.
I mean, it's fine when it's not the school day, you know, but I think it needs to be clearly iterated. When school's not in session, makes it sound like only during the summer, which means like Sundays and Saturdays.
Yep.
You know, no, there's no school in session. After 5 p.m., there's no school in session, and after school is gone. So I think just updating that to match the signage that we're gonna post, I think could, you know, we'll clarify that.
Sure, the parking issue near the bridge could be addressed really simply. When the snow first left, I walked around up there to check out the trails. Everything was holding. And I walked down where that house used to be. You quoted the name of the people who live there. But those foundations are quite visible. And they actually make a really nice, almost retaining wall. There's 2 foundations that go back. And you know, the town boys could be tapped for ditch dirt. It's a good ditch spot, dump the ditch dirt there. Simple as that, you know, and then we can, I'd go down there with my loader or dozer or something and push it off. You know, 10 minutes, we'd have a parking lot. And then the town would have a place to dump their fill. And I don't see that getting in the river. If there's a hazard right now, that's an unprotected hazard. It's an open, you know, path basement. Just fill that and park cars on it.
Was
Why
there
not?
like a wood turtle issue there or something?
No, not in the old house roll. Right now, it's a hazard. There's nothing, maybe some woodchucks, but there's no turtles. Yeah, you guys should check it out. Just, you know, you'll see what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, so we touched on a few topics. So one thing is modifying the stewardship plan. And doing that, I think basically actually would be a select board act or yeah, I think it's a select board act. They have to adopt the stewardship plan. So if I think the approach for that would be if this board is in agreement to make a motion to recommend to the select board that we strike the one line, you know, at this time, e-bikes are not allowed. Something, you know, Roger, defer to you in terms of wordsmithing it.
Right, I would like to have the actual page up, but I can't get it up with a Starlink, not like in my computer, I guess. But I think
It's on page 35.
right. I know, it won't load the document.
Okay.
I'll try again. But I think using our language, remove the language from page 34 of the stewardship plan, prohibiting e-bikes from town forest property.
Okay, yeah, and maybe we read it like this. There's the paragraph has 4 sentences right now. I think we strike the last 2. So let me read what we would retain. We'll retain bicycle, and this is my proposal, right? Subject to other opinions. So bicycles are allowed in the town forest on designated trails only. Bicycle users must adhere to any and all posted trail restrictions and yield to other trail users, period. And then the part that's there now that we would strike, I propose it to strike. Electric bikes are not permitted at this time. The select board or forest stewardship committee may allow exceptions in cases where they are serving as an assistive technology for a person with a physical disability. So we just strike those last 2 sentences. And then if we end up in a place where we have to make distinctions about whether, you know, an electric dirt bike is an e-bike or not, then we can come back and clarify that when we need to.
Well, that's assisted technology, correct?
I mean,
like all electric. But the assisted technology.
meaning if it's, like a wheelchair or something.
Wheelchair, or even if it's all electric.
Uh-huh.
For somebody that, can't have.
Well, I mean.
Like what they, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, for your Uncle Dave, it's, well. If we strike the language, then, somebody could come with an electric bike, any electric two-wheel thing and say, oh, it's an e-bike. And if your Uncle Dave does it, that's gonna be awesome. And if, if somebody else does it, and it's, one of the things you see in the hunters drive out in the woods, and they're joyriding with it, then we're gonna have to come back and make a rule about it. But I think we can, I think we can wait until we need to make that rule.
Do
If
we
we-
want to change language to explicitly allow e-bikes rather than just remove the language that removes the permissions? Because we could add language like e-bikes are permitted in the town forest, provided they stay on established trails. Something like
Or we could say, class 2 e-bikes pedal assist. And I'm pretty sure it's class 2 is what they're called. Which class 2 indicates that the electric motor cuts out at 20 miles per hour. And that they only function as pedal assist.
I would almost just not post it on any written publications of rules or regulations. Just forget about it. Don't post it. And
You mean on
I know
signs?
we've already got signs out there that said no motorized vehicles.
Yeah.
And it might be easier to do it that way.
That makes sense to me. But, and I think, I think the key point is, we don't want to be in a position of not respecting what we've written in our stewardship plan. So we need to modify our stewardship plan to at least remove this prohibition.
Yeah, and if, I guess down the road, you could always write no class 3 e-bikes or something along those lines. Or class 1 and 2 e-bikes only, if it's,
I think that was the conclusion we came to meetings ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're back there.
yeah, I mean, I think that. It's a fine point, I hate to belabor, sorry to belabor it, but I think it's worth actually making sure that we're giving it due consideration. So,
we can strike those last two. But since we're in the process of it, we do want to add a prohibition or to modify the prohibition, say class 3 electric bikes are not permitted at this time.
okay, so I'm gonna look up electric bike classes and make sure that, if we're gonna.
Rather than just like
do that.
do it again in a couple of months when we run into a problem, if we're gonna make a conscious decision to allow certain vehicles in with the knowledge that certain vehicles could be damaging, I think we should parse it out in this moment.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what Gemini says, electric bikes are categorized into 3 main classes based on speed and how the motor assists the rider. Generally, all classes are capped at 750 watts. Class 1 is pedal assist only, no throttle, with a top motor assisted speed of 20 miles per hour. Class 2 is pedal assist with a throttle, with a top speed of 20 miles an hour. And class 3 is pedal assist only, with a top speed of 28 miles per hour.
Kind of throttle does 35.
So, I would propose we allow class 1 and class 2. Specify it.
I'm comfortable with that, and I'll defer, as I don't have a lot of in-depth knowledge of the distinction between them. But
I think most of what you'll see is class one. You know, although it's I also know a fair number of people that have, you know, more, a little more robust e-bikes, because it gets them out, and, you know, they just wouldn't be out at all if they didn't have.
like any other rule that we have established too, if there's a population of people and enthusiasts with a strong case as to why we should include class three, they're more than welcome to present it, you know.
I mean, can you use the language of no fully motorized operation? As I think about my bike, I have those options to use that. I have the option to use the throttle. Is that now not allowed on the trail just because it exists, but I'm not using it? I mean, I'm going to make the argument to anybody who stops me that, well, I'm using pedal assist. I'm sorry, the bike has that feature. I can't say to them,
Maybe
get
want to
rid of
get
it.
the business of stopping people on their bikes
So
and being the carrier.
is the better wording to go, what you don't want is people using fully motorized operation, because that's a motorized vehicle. If you're pedaling, we're fine.
Yeah.
Is that what we're shooting for?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I mean, the technology is always shifting, so the rules have to shift with the technology. Right,
Yeah.
but I think the idea is like, we don't want a lot of loud engine noise, we don't want a lot of, you know, extra work that's gonna destroy the trails. You know, I think this is kind of the thing, and for just general safety, you know, people are tooling down 40 miles an hour. Is that enough time for a hiker to get out of the way, you know? Whereas someone could say like a mountain biker could be tooling down pretty fast too, and we have a similar argument. So it's like, you know, I think the idea is to just kind of we gotta set a line somewhere. So if we're gonna put our back against policing a complaint, or going to the select board and be like, hey, we have lots of complaints of people using, you know, these popped up e-bikes, or I don't know how you would categorize it. You know, people are very creative, and the idea of like what qualifies or doesn't, I don't know. I think we were running around and around and around in a circle a year ago too, which is one of the reasons why we just said no e-bikes at all. You know, and we're trying to like allow for it without just like letting all the cats out of the bag.
I think saying class one and class two.
Yeah. Start there and see if there's a problem.
Is consistent, you know, it's what a lot of other places do. And it does allow the throttles. Class one doesn't have the throttle, class two has it. So it doesn't make you a criminal. But for being out there on your bike that has a throttle.
They self-charge? They self-charge?
No, they don't. They don't have regenerative braking. Yeah. That would add a whole lot of weight to the
Yes, they
thing.
would anyway. Yeah, you're right.
Can I modify your motion then?
Sure. I haven't officially made the motion, so.
All right, so move to change the language on the identified page in the stewardship plan. To read after the second sentence, which, you know, electric bikes, parentheses, e-bikes. Class one and class two electric bikes, parentheses, e-bikes are permitted. Class three electric bikes are not permitted at this time. Just insert a snippet and modify the one that prohibits all, to just change that to class three or not permitted. And we can leave the remainder of the language where they allow exception.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. So we'll say, class one and class two electric bikes are permitted, class three, and class three and unclassified. Or all others or something like that. Class one and class two are permitted, all others are not.
Right, and then we have our normal proposal process if people wanna try to modify the rule to facilitate a particular habitat or hobby.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, I'll wordsmith that up if we agree. So motions on the.
Second motion.
If you want to clarify that these e-bikes are on the designated trails.
Yes.
For
I think,
bikes.
yeah, it's,
If they're not running through the forest. You know, that.
Yes, thanks, Jack. I definitely wanted to include that, and I forgot to.
but, and it's in the first sentence, actually, bicycles are allowed on designated trails only.
And it does say in the title, including mountain bikes and e-bikes.
Good.
Fantastic. Hopefully that puts that to bed for a while.
Yeah, that's a.
One thing.
My older kid is getting their second one.
Oh,
He said, that electric unicycles is what they're called.
You have someone at the trailhead with a scale and calipers, checking your bikes.
These electric unicycles. I said that, but, okay,
Should we do a formal vote on it?
right, the motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Right, all those in favor? Aye. Those? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so then we're back to the question of the map. And there seems to be consensus that Kate's map is nice. We need to modify the language, but also maybe it's too big and we should get something else that focuses on the trail maps and the trails themselves.
There are, 4 proposed changes I'd like to make. One, I said before, is zoom in onto the accessible trail areas that exist right now. I want to add the additional language so that people know specifically when they're allowed to use the school parking lot. I would like to add the parking area by the bridge. We can come back to that in a minute. And then the last is I would like to add Gordon's proposed trail as a under construction trail. So that we don't have to reprint the map right away, kind of just go through until if we have printed maps until the printed maps run out and
Right.
updated in the updated revision.
I think we should also provide a QR code to a PDF geo-referenced map, so you can navigate with it with your cell phone. And people don't know how to direct in the woods anymore, but they do know how to use a cell phone. They can navigate with their cell phone and not call 911. They get lost, because that happens.
I don't think you're gonna be able to call 911 in there anyway.
Is the cell service all? They're out there,
It's spotty.
Yeah, but once the map is loaded, it tends to follow the map.
Yeah.
It'll work through events and maps, so will work. If there's a QR code, they just download the PDF and maybe a little subtext to describe
You
events.
know how to get all that set up?
I do
Okay,
it all the time.
okay.
Yeah, for people that working in the woods, you can just give them the map and just follow the lines, the layout. Follow the layout.
If you're willing to do that.
I don't know how to do the QR code,
Okay.
but I know how to do everything else.
But
Okay.
it's
I
not,
can probably figure it out.
it's not the first time someone has done this, I think. A little bit of Googling.
Yeah,
I can figure it out. That's a good exercise.
Jim and I,
Yeah, QR code generators are pretty straightforward. It's
Okay.
Yeah, you just Google it.
Bradley probably has something in his pocket we could use.
Okay, so essentially we need a new map. We can't just take Kate's map as it is, but if we take that as a baseline and the things you're proposing sound great to me. So anybody else have other comments about things they'd want to see on the map?
I think it's great. That'll get people to use it.
Dare I ask any other rules that we think should be added? I guess I'll I know Kate's probably super busy, but I should probably at least start with her. It's her file. But should I just proceed, bring the file to Luke, let him do it? I don't know. You seem pretty busy too, so I don't want to like.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Kate and I'll follow up with you shortly.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we have.
To, like, to get the base file from her, you mean, or?
Yeah, I think, you know,
Just change.
so we don't have to keep shaking her down every time we want to change, you know.
Or maybe somebody with an e-bike can just go out there and get a crack at the trails.
That's how the trail shapes are on there.
Yes,
As a matter of fact.
sure,
It's
sure they are.
like,
Because it's a chore.
I happen to know the writer who collected the data.
There you go.
But, yeah, I'll start with Kate.
I have an e-bike too.
If for whatever reason, whether it's scheduling or workload or anything like that, where she doesn't want to apply or can't do this with any reasonable time frame, I'll just reach out to you.
Okay.
Similar, but also trail related. You spoke with Maxfield last meeting, correct?
Yeah,
It was partly cut off, like, little bit cut off, I think, on the recording. But I know that he's currently building at least 2 signs for the school trail, so those should be posted as soon as he drops them in my bin.
okay.
Just when he's happy with the treatment on it.
Fantastic.
We'll get those up. I still haven't talked to Miss Gascoigne, the new principal, yet. It's pretty busy with all the budget, who going on right now. So I'm trying not to like put any extra work in any of the school personnel's plates. But I know she would like to come in and meet us at some point. It might not happen till August, like towards the beginning of the school year, but.
Okay.
I'll extend an invitation.
Who's the new principal?
Kate Gascoigne.
Oh, great, great.
Used to be your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
Great. She's not in yet though, right?
Well, she doesn't technically start until next school year. Dennis is gonna finish this school year.
Yeah.
Is officially retired. Passes the torch, I think, July 1st. The technical date, like the new fiscal year begins, I believe.
So if we have.
Is he retired?
He is retiring. Now, these days, retirement means a whole bunch of different things. So,
Yeah, okay.
But I think that at least the immediate thought is that he is going to just, sit back and relax. I don't know if he drinks or not, but. Just put the cotton swabs in his ears and just sit through the whole budget conversation.
Right.
No, he's offered himself out several times to be involved in any kind of school development projects. I think they're trying to just, that's nice, Dennis, but we are trying to formally move it to the next guard. And the changeover of the superintendent as well. It's already gonna be murky enough, so,
Yeah.
that's on the side, talk about some time.
I think we've gotten through new business. We've been doing new business. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Do we have any upcoming events? I know there's town barbecue in September.
Mhm.
And at some point, Linda or someone, like Michelle, will come to us if we want to do a table.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the answer is yes. But we'll keep that in mind, that's a good volunteer recruitment time.
Mhm.
So if we do find that we're having success getting I haven't had much success getting volunteer groups together. Other people in the group has been finding success. It could be a good time to get a few more names on the rolls.
Yeah. I suspect if we come up with projects, that a few people get fired up for a project. It's going to be a different thing rather than having just a list of volunteers. When we know what work we want them to do.
Yeah, specific time and date and project. Yeah, I think that's, yeah. That's kind of what it seemed like last year, helping with to get the trails going too. It's like, all right, we've got a work day and.
Or we did, was asking for help with these projects.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
but I don't know, are there any other events that we should be considering?
Not aware of any. Maybe we should make one, you know, make something happen, but I don't have the energy to do it myself.
It'd be nice to, you know, continue on with our apple tree rehabilitation project. I'm a little sidetracked with the water quality work over there, but you know, those trees over there, you know, it's a slow process to get them back in production. You know, we started that process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, doing, and for that matter, timber stand improvements in the pines, would be a fine thing to do, but I think there's only so much we can take on. You know, if we had 20 people come into our meetings looking to get involved and help out and do stuff, that'd be awesome. We could probably find projects for 20 people to do. I, these days, I don't have the energy to do much outside of coming to these meetings. So,
Did we ever do anything on that earthen dam, the cutting saplings?
no,
What
I'm
now?
not aware of any of that. That might be actually a task for high schoolers.
I would love that.
It's so it's the pond. You had a name for it if I remember right. But the pond that's up in the, you know, just on the other side of the Furman property.
Floods.
Yeah, well, that's pond, is it?
Yeah.
So instructions from the experts who looked at it, you know, and I don't even know where the original source was, but if we want to keep it as a pond, I guess we need to cut the trees off the dam. But it might be too big of a job to do with high schoolers. I don't know. Seems to me that the trees, a couple of years ago, the trees were, you know, 4 or 5 inches in diameter. So that's chainsaw work.
Interesting. Yeah. I've been there several times.
Nice.
I mean, I can't put chainsaws in students' hands, but
Yeah.
you know, my bigger question with that would be, how am I getting there?
Yeah.
It is a little bit. It's a little
You're right. That's a discussion with Furman, am I saying, is that the right? Talent, yeah. Yeah, so maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe stay with the original idea of the trail over here.
What about?
But is that a project, if that's a project that needs doing,
It is.
I mean, like I said, Bill gives me permission to go.
Uh-huh.
Should we?
I mean,
That's something.
Fire it well, man.
Well, yeah, I guess if you showed me what.
Can I propose maybe that we do a work volunteer subcommittee? For 1 or 2 of us, we'll break off and have a little bit of autonomy to like get at least some structural things together. We get a task list together. And then there's some other documentation in here in terms of prioritizing projects, just revisiting that.
Yep.
And bring it to the surface. And then maybe schedule some target dates for when we want to ask people to show up for work and events. Because I could contribute to that, but I wouldn't want to work on it alone. If there's anybody that wanted to work on it with me, I'd be happy to. I just want to be able to bounce ideas off someone who's familiar with the spaces, maybe a little bit more than I am. I don't think that once we think we probably don't have to do much except for like the first, just a session to lay it out, and we could probably do most of it just online. I don't even know if we need to meet.
I'm 100% in favor of it. I don't have to participate.
Yeah.
Gordon, one of the other work-related projects that's mentioned in the forestry plan is removing the invasive honeysuckle.
Mhm.
There's a couple of plants. What is it in that clear patch?
There's 13 up in the fields.
Yeah,
And there's a couple big ones down next to Route 15 across from Bill Tenney's driveway.
that's another one to add to the list.
Well, maybe I won't make a proposal this meeting, maybe they'll put up a prospectus in terms of like, what's like, it's like, you know, what the purpose of the subcommittee and the goals are.
I'll kill those plants for you if you want.
Please do.
I will. I'll use herbicide though.
Yeah.
I'm licensed.
And you were talking about that, knotweed too.
Yeah,
It's a little trickier. That requires some,
you have all the authorization necessary to do it.
yeah, where's the knotweed?
I thought you brought it up in your proposal on your map. And we weren't aware of it because it wasn't in Emily's report. She reported about the honeysuckle, but she didn't say anything about knotweed.
Put it on a map or plan, I'm sure it's there, just can't remember, but yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
just like
bad stuff.
wondering where it
You gotta
was.
snuff it out before it takes over.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, that requires an active herbicide.
Yeah.
So like glyphosate, it's used in conservation science because it, binds to carbon almost immediately. So it's not active once it hits the soil, but if you have something that vegetatively propagates, meaning you cut the green stuff out and then it sprouts up from the rhizomes, you need something with some soil activity. Soil activity means that it's somewhat mobile, so it moves. That's when you have to, put controls in place and, test your soils to see how it moves and just, monitor the site. But my point is, with knotweed, you really need something that's mobile, a little mobile to get those rhizomes. Yeah.
I think if I can get my tractor trailer down there with the winch on it,
Yep.
I can pull them all out in a day.
The honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's what my old man does. Yeah, with the winch. Yeah, you just
So we did it last year.
yanks them all out. That's great if you can. Yeah, you can't do that with something that vegetatively propagates, but you can with honeysuckle because it doesn't. Yep.
So we should, it seems like we should be on the lookout for knotweed, but we don't need to be out there remediating right now. But remediating the honeysuckle, and whoever, as far as whoever gets there first, you want to get there with your tractor, or if you.
If he can do it without chemicals, definitely. Core values, the least destructive, most effective, way of eradication or control, and that would be without chemicals. So. Yeah.
Yeah, David, do you want to let us know?
Okay.
You got help?
Sure.
Then, with respect to a subcommittee, let's set up a if there's somebody who wants to help Roger, let's make that official tonight. And you guys can meet to think about what volunteer projects are needed and, get your thoughts about how to organize volunteers, solicit them, et cetera. I mean, no reason to delay on any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out there. If anybody feels like they want to help shape this or put this together, just let me know. Like, I'm not trying to add like a ton of work to my plate either. But I do think, as someone who's volunteered in a lot of projects, like you said, they just want to show up with the tool and get to work. They don't want to wait for you to figure out what to do. So if we have a simple mechanism to identify, locate, activate, and then report back and celebrate, the work that people are doing. It becomes like a self-feeding machine over time. It always starts slow. You get to that point of like when the enthusiasm is higher, that's part of people's life, or like Green Up Day. We can eventually have our trail cleanup day or weekend. We can kind of layer into that kind of stuff. So I don't mind like drafting up something formal. But if anybody here feels, like they have some energy, but just reach out to me. And then, yeah, we'll start thinking about it as a subcommittee thing. And maybe we'll, in the busy season we meet, and in the off season, maybe not so much.
Small possibility my life will get less hectic, in which case I will definitely join you.
We just have to find out where the fish are hiding. Once we find out where they're hiding, we'll be able to catch all this. In terms of volunteers.
I just like the idea of having like just a list of projects too, like, yeah, that'd be nice. Just.
Let's start planning around
Yeah,
some of them. You get a workforce. Okay, you know what to address.
yeah. Maybe for,
Yeah, that'd be great, almost like a Trello board where you have like post-its that have like basically the job specs. And then you have to work through it like a coordinator.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it, like, maybe my next meeting, we could just have a list or put it on the agenda.
We do have a list, so I can bring it back to the surface.
Okay,
Because our file is pretty thick right now.
Yeah.
In terms of we have a lot of drafts in there. So I know last year Gordon did a big push to kind of clear up and organize. Maybe I'll do that again. And kind of push things into that haven't been landed in a folder. So I'll put it in.
You know, I saw the Northwood Stewardship folks down working at the WMA at the base of Elmore Pond Road. And I stopped in and chatted with them what they're doing, and they're younger and they're working through AmeriCorps. It's based up in Charleston. It'd be cool if we could tap some of those folks. I'm hoping to get some more money through NIFWF, National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and that's a work pool we can tap. They're really enthusiastic about it. They're young, they got energy, they want to learn, want to be out. A lot of them are from down country where they don't have forests, like we have. So they're really thankful for the opportunity to be out there. And we have like the riparian planting. I mean, that really needs to be done. You'll see we lost another couple of feet this spring. That'll just keep on going. So there's a lot of little projects like that. Emily and I have been talking quite a bit. A friend of Pete Emerson, he's a fish and wildlife biologist. He's very familiar with Whitcomb Brook. And we looked at some LIDAR, and that road that traverses it goes into the stream reach and then out, into the stream reach and then out. It would be great if that could get closed and then moved up so we could access and do, whatever recreation, forestry, wildlife stuff, whatever. But that really should be dealt with. And that's a super good fishery. And it's been documented and known about for a long time. Pete's hip to it. He's a good biologist. Our impact letter came from for our water quality service provider came from Dave Adams, who he does a lot of wildlife habitat restoration work in the state. But I was in communication with Dave, Pete, and then Andrea Shortsleeve, who was our commissioner for a little bit, and now she's director of operations.
So in our website, there's a website in our Google Drive. There's a folder called project planning, and there's a forest volunteer sign-up sheet from last summer. It's got some names in it. There's a master project list and a maintenance task list already in there. So cool stuff to get started with.
A lot of them are general, and I think going through and doing the trail walks in the next couple of weeks will help us kind of build it. Add the specifics that we really need.
Yeah.
To get some crews together.
Cool. Most people, we have like a trail section, we have like woods restoration or whatever. It's like two different categories in my mind, but maybe, yeah.
But there could be an opportunity too, to pair up the restoration work, the silvicultural work, or the habitat restoration work. With, I don't know, like a workshop or like an information session, for people are learning about the forest, and that is the on-ramp into getting the work done, or the importance of it.
Yep.
And people who come out for the presentation might naturally fall into the volunteer pool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool.
I'm sorry, I'm just brainstorming here.
All in the bed, work party.
That's something I learned, researching our trails and the law and policy, blah, 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 is, you know, I had mapped a bunch of areas where there's issues, but we have a vast trail. And all the red tape you got to go through. Vast Trail doesn't have any. They are exempt from wetlands permit, 100%. I never knew that. So they can go right through wherever they want. It's crazy.
So long as the property owner.
But it's been that way for a long time.
Supposedly it is, they're only in use in the winter time when everything's all frozen up.
Yeah, but you still got to cut them, you know, put them through and, you know, put your bridges in, all that stuff, but all that work's exempt. It's right in the statute.
I heard they have a lot of trouble trying to put culverts in your bridges. Somebody has a say.
Well, you'd still need a stream alteration engineer if the watershed size is greater than 160 acres. So that's basically you take the project scope, you know, a drawing, and then you submit it with $200, and then it gets worn, puts on the natural resource bulletin for 2 weeks, and then they just review your plans and say, "Yep, you're good to go." And then you have to get inspected by the regional engineer, and he might have it out for you. Who knows? But but they're exempt from wetlands. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and they want it. They didn't say that culvert was exempt. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, well, we're not doing it then. That's going to be another 2 years. We're just going to pull it. Yep.
Cool. We're coming up on time.
Just wanted to quickly review just what we've committed to.
Okay.
So you said you would go with Luke to the select board?
Yep,
Okay.
that's next Wednesday.
I'll try to get you that proposed language maybe tonight. Should be
Okay.
super easy. It's not that hard. And then you can bring both things in that.
Yeah, plus getting Trevor on stage. So we can have another voting member.
Somebody to get on the volunteer committee.
Hey, yeah. Absolutely.
Get some access here to a Google Drive.
I got projects in mind, so. But yeah, and then I'll reach out to Kate and then likely Luke afterwards about edits to the map. And then brainstorm what a volunteer subcommittee might look like and what the goal of the committee will be.
Mhm.
We can have a proper discussion about it about in the June meeting.
Love it.
Of course, we could always do the work in parallel, but formalizing it, I think, will help. It helps us just keep good records too when we have. If we can just push things to a subcommittee, you know, we can hammer out the details.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if we wanted to do shorter meetings in the summer, but I can't.
You know what? I was trying to get us out of here 45 minutes.
It's kind of a flat.
Y'all kept talking,
So I'd be more than happy to shave a half an hour off this meeting. Guess if we've got work to do.
Try it. I mean, first of all, we don't always have to go to 8. We can stop, you know, anytime y'all all let us stop talking, we can adjourn the meeting. We have done it. We have ended meetings at 7. But
Yeah,
it's we're out of time. We're 4 minutes of 8, but I'm pouring us out of time. You know, I assume there's no more burning issues. We've had plenty of time to talk about stuff. Cool. Meeting adjourns. Thank you all.